We're joined now by Shrikant Joshi, who is the Chief Executive Officer and the Managing Director of L&T Realty. Thank you so much, Mr. Joshi, for taking the time. I want to start by asking about the sector as a whole and how you're seeing it, how you're perceiving it as a developer, because obviously this market operates in pockets. And one would argue that quite a few of the SOPs that have been announced in several geographies has pushed demand for residential property. What are you seeing on the ground and which pockets stand out to you?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this. And what your observation is right. There have been, after the phase round one of COVID, where a lot of uncertainty was there, people were afraid about job losses. We didn't know how COVID will pan out. And before that, we had three major reforms in RERA, GST, and IBC. And also the accounting standard INDAS, which changed, where the accounting is done when the back-ended delivery of the houses. With all of this, the customer was suspect, but then the government did many things, and particularly the stamp duty waivers. All over the country, the ready reckoner rate has been flat for the last 2 years. RBI's own research shows that the affordability index is at its highest, and the prices are at their bottom. So all this, plus the fundamental demand for residences remain large in the country. Large part of our population do not own their own houses. So all this is a perfect recipe to buy residential property now, which we do see on the ground. Also, as people would have seen, the steel prices have shot up through the roof, cement prices have gone up, all the metal prices have gone up. So people know that this is the lowest price you can get at this point of time. And we do see that on the ground of our properties. We have just launched one of our properties at Powai 2 days back, and the response so far has been very, very encouraging.
Could you also take us through the impact of the second wave? Because I think a lot of developers, perhaps including yourself, were better prepared for the second wave in that you had creches that allowed you to continue with work. But what is the effect on the labor force? And also if you can talk about whether or not you're preparing for a wave 3 in any way.
Yes, that's right. Wave 1, after it happened, you saw those mass migrations happening. In wave 2, we were very much prepared. L&T was at the forefront of all welfares for our own employees as well as all the laborers. All the arrangements were made, and we had very, very less labor migration second time, hardly 10-15%. And the recovery was also very quick. Mass vaccinations are on for our own employees as well as all the contract laborers. So what you say is right. We were much, much better prepared, and the laborers were also better prepared, knowing that with good corporates, they would be taken care of. On the issue of third front, I think most governments are well prepared, as well as L&T itself. We have donated so many oxygen plants and taking all the precaution through vaccinations and social distancing and masking that hopefully it should not happen. But if it does, I think the system is better prepared.
Sure. Mr. Joshi, real estate watchers say that FY22 residential demand is actually expected to be robust because of, greater affordability, better consumer sentiment, and of course, a desire for home ownership and larger homes as well in some cases. Would you agree with them? And what are the other triggers you think are at play currently?
So I do agree. People realize this pandemic, when everything was digital, husband, wife working from the same house, and 2 kids, if they were also attending school digitally, that was a challenge. So if people can afford, they're looking for larger houses. There's no doubt about that. Actually, we have never seen such a confluence. The affordability index is at its best over the last 2 decades. Developers have given huge discounts. Properties, competition is ensuring that the prices were at the lowest, and the index stability is there. People can see the economic growth coming in front. Also, a large part of the pandemic fears are getting behind us as the country is getting vaccinated. So all this confluence together definitely makes a good year for the residential properties.
Great. So, would you also agree that large developers are consolidating their market share right now? We are seeing them enjoy better credibility at this point in time. Also, customers, they've got better capital access. Are they cannibalizing market share, you think?
Actually, it's a little different in this industry. It is not like a consumer product industry where you cannibalize one share or the others. What this industry required was some kind of a discipline and the end customer protection, which the governments have done over the last 4 or 5 years through various legislations. So what has happened? RERA has real teeth. Then we had the IBC, then GST. So all of this is forcing a discipline in the sector in a particular manner. Secondly, the accounting standards have changed and the income can be recognized only when the house is transferred to the end customer. So your P&L is becoming back-ended. The earlier the part many builders could do was pre-launch. All the pre-launches are getting almost down to zero because you need to register in RERA. So the means of financing are changing. The rules, fundamental rules of this game have changed, and for the better and for the protection of the customer. In this, the business models have changed. You need capital to run, you need a brand, and the end customer also has started to prefer more risk-free, the mad risks they don't want to take, and which point of time corporates are the only ones who can really ride through this game, and some corporates will do it better than others, and which is why this consolidation you see in the sector is happening.
Okay. Hi, Shrikant. This is Mubina as well joining in. I wanted to talk to you about, I mean, of course, in this last few months, we've seen a good pickup in sales. Registrations have increased. How has that changed the inventory levels? The whole supply-demand dynamic as well in a way, because I know for a fact that many construction sites are still on hold, especially by the smaller developers who had it obviously tougher than big players like you. So how has that changed in this past few months?
So Mubina, that's a good question. And I'll tell you what, in the normal frenzy, the launches would have been very high. The launches are not that high. Second, the completions will be delayed for many developers, and particularly the small and marginal. When the cash flow starts to stop from the end customer or their sales suffer, they don't have the firepower to really keep on paying the labor and the raw materials. Also, the raw materials are becoming more and more expensive, which today we are not able to pass on to the market. So clearly there is a squeeze on the developers, and this squeeze to hold on and to weather requires a lot of muscle power and willingness. So with the result that what is happening is the inventory is coming down. Also what happened when the stamp duty went down and customers were looking for houses, the ready to move in inventory really moved fast. And that's why the finished inventory went down, new launches are down, the constructions are going to take longer. So to that extent, there is an effect of supply. Having said that, Mubina, the point is, it is not a fungible supply and demand. It is not one orange being replaced by another orange. It doesn't happen in real estate. The end customer has become very choosy. So my guess is the inventory which gets stuck for a developer without credibility is going to get stuck for a long time. And the developers with credibility are going to garner the sales as we see going forward.
I realized I just commoditized the real estate market when I asked you a supply-demand kind question. I guess looking at what we are seeing right now with demand really picking up, I was just interested in knowing what the inventory levels were like, because that is something that we've been seeing increasing quite a bit, for the last many years, especially in major cities. But Mr. Joshi, we leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on The Market.
Thank you, Mubina. Thank you, Aisha, and thank you.